Hello, my name is Kiana Ramirez, and I was assigned Module 13, Chapter 13. The name of this chapter is Advertising, Marketing, and Persuasion. I have chosen to refresh your memory on the subject of mere exposure. Mere exposure is when someone uses exposure of a product or idea to persuade. So that means that they have to expose the product or idea more than once, multiple times, so that the persuadee can be persuaded into a positive mindset. Mere exposure dates back to the late 1960s and relates to a news story of a student who attended class inside of a big black plastic bag, and how students over time became accustomed to it and went from being giving the individual inside of the black bag weird looks to being friendly towards him. I apply the mirror exposure in the workplace with the people that I work with. The people that I work with they have a lot of statistics that they have to meet and expectations to follow. So we try to expose them to the statistics and the information as much as possible so that they realize that it is important and that they need to be meeting expectations. The mere exposure has also been applied to me as well in the workplace. A lot of times I am shown procedures more than once because it is always good to refresh the memory, and because I know that they are procedures that need to be done and I'm exposed to them time and time and again. It makes it more believable and more reliable than to just assume that the rules are what needs to be followed just because that's what's written. And if consistency is what keeps the persuadee in believing. A good example of mere exposure would be how recently I've been exposed to a lot of murder shows and a lot of shows that contain points of view from the law and attorneys and cases and stuff like that. So that's made me very interested in other educational journeys. So yes, the mere exposure of these shows has persuaded me to look into law programs at other schools. And so in conclusion, mere exposure is effective because when a person is exposed to something consistently, it is more likely for a person to develop a positive perspective towards the object or idea, or not positive, not a positive perspective, but more of a favorable perspective, because we would maybe want the persuadee to have a negative perspective. But in light of the discussion, I invite all of you to be able to identify persuasive angles. So if you are able to identify a mere exposure persuasive angle, please do so, and that way it gets you more into the practice of knowing the difference between angles and methods that people use to persuade. Thank you.